Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the 382nd Knowledge Seekers Workshop. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Education Department, part of the Public Teachings in English. My name is Rick Crammond. I'll be a host today on Thursday, May 27th, 2021. And once again, in these Knowledge Seekers Workshop series, we are joined and honored to be with Mr. Mehran Keshe of the Keshe Foundation, who will be presenting today's workshop. Hello, Mr. Keshe. Are you ready to begin today?
Yes, good morning, good day to you as usual, wherever and whenever you listen to this series of Knowledge Seekers of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute in learning more and sharing more knowledge amongst us, as we are all knowledge seekers. We welcome you back to another session of what I would call beautiful knowledge. We learn from it a lot and we progress a lot with it. Last week we announced the signing of the agreement for one of the largest up to now manufacturing bases of the Keshe Foundation in China, some 17,000 square meter. Thank you to the team of Keshe Foundation in China, headed by Wang Lin and Chao and Xiaojin and what we call the whole team of the Keshe Foundation, which is now moving and partially has already moved to the position of the Jindenjiang to set up the factory and the whole operation with it as a first base. As you heard, this factory is one of the 20 factories which the Keshe Foundation has received the support to build in China in next few years. This is the beginning of, and as part of our operation is this place will be the space development technology in conjunction with the Chinese authorities, that we bring China and Iran and the rest of the world on the same level in the space technology. We have another good news in a way for you that we start. Keshe Foundation Television has found a permanent position that they move into for the next couple of weeks, and the whole operation will have a permanent studio, as the Keshe Foundation has had to leave the Linz exhibition center, as the government of Austria has taken over the whole center as a center for what we call injections and applications of the corona to control and test. So we are moving out of exhibition center. We have moved to a much more prestigious, much prestigious, but a permanent place for Keshe Foundation in Europe. This is a beautiful location where a lot of things, which makes it much easier, because where we were before, it was a lot of a struggle to get to. Now this is much easier. There is a tram and there is a train and everything else possible to get to, which makes it easier for the people who just come especially to visit the center or the systems. For this reason, at this place where the television moves, we have an exhibition center, and with the agreement of what we have on the Keshe management, we are looking for knowledge seekers with a good knowledge of the Keshe Foundation technology and fluent in at least 2 to 3 languages to join the Keshe Foundation in this center. This center was what was our wish. We announced some times ago that it will be carried out from now on this way, where we have what we call application of the enhancement centers, that people can come for using it like every other sports center, and demonstration and what we call exhibitions of, and what we call store for selling products of the Keshe Foundation. We've been lucky to have our wishes in a way to come true in a beautiful way, where not only people can receive the benefits of the technology to learn and become like a teaching center, but it becomes what we call the Enhancement Health Center Space Technology. This place should be open in next couple of weeks once the refurbishment is done, and the facilities will come the first center where we receive on the back of Iran, Arizona, the enhancement units. We use this as we wanted as an enhancement center, but within a large retail organization. Well, what we wanted it as a bringing the knowledge directly into public, as in what we said, like a shopping centers, huge shopping centers. This has given us a huge opportunity to bring the knowledge directly to the people where we become part of. It's very much as you go to a shopping center, you go to opticians, or you go to somewhere else for what you need. Now this is the way we wanted it. We brought the public in directly in touch, and as a retail shop where they get to know the technology, and the center of the health center becomes part of it. We thank for those people who work in the background for it, but we are looking for a number of people to employ who understand, can explain the enhancement units, and be able to be fluent in German, English, and possibly French or Chinese. And in that process, we welcome you. If you have the ability to do so, get in touch through the normal channels of Keshe Foundation. We need at least 3 to 5 people to man these facilities on a 6-day basis, as we are part of the very large, what we call retail store. And in a way, we bring the technology to public. This is good for us in a way. We introduce the technology not on the internet, but directly to the public. They can come, feel it, they understand it. And with it, we put teaching sessions that people understand. They just don't buy a product, to understand the technology and carry on with it. As I said, I thank the whole of the Keshe Foundation team in the background who's made this what we call doable. And you will see in this exhibition center all the systems, the vertical, horizontal, and all the advanced technologies, which is part of the Keshe Foundation one. In the teaching last week, we made a very clear announcement that how we start showing you the combination of the use of the systems, how the air enhancement unit can be used in conjunction with what we call the vision enhancement units, in conjunction with what we call the environmental systems for field detection and field absorption. And today we try to expand on this in a different way. The knowledge and technology has to be on the basis of understanding of the totality. We have to now understand how we connect everything together and how we come to interact with all the knowledge in different way. In a way, we are bringing the different pieces of jigsaw to make different pictures, and then we open it up, and with the same pieces, we make another jigsaw to be completed. Last week, we explained the use of and how we use the air enhancement units in conjunction with the vision unit, in conjunction with what we call the butterfly. Today, we want to expand on this in the knowledge in a way that if we understand what these processes create, it will be very interesting for many of us to extend the knowledge to understand the technology. What is important is, as we said, we have the body of the man, and we have introduced systems like the air enhancement unit. We have introduced the systems like the vision unit. We have introduced a system like the butterfly. But what does it do? Many of you made the Gans waters. What's the purpose of totality of this? Our ultimate goal is one thing, and that is to elevate the son of the man, the soul of the man, where the sun shines. When the whole thing is created by it and through it. What is the purpose of all this work? Mankind has fed the physicality from the beginning of time. But mankind has never understood how to feed the soul of the man, the sun, the center. That in conjunction with its elevation, it will become in touch with the rest of the structure of the universe. One of the simple things which we have to understand is that every sun has a heartbeat. In the physical dimension of the man, we listen to the heartbeat of the man and we consider it as if the life exists within it. We got to understand that the soul of the man has a heartbeat too. How do we tune into it? How do we excite it? How do we create a condition for it to be able to expand beyond the boundary of the physicality? When we run, when we get excited with the beauty or the presence of anything, our heartbeat increases and we become more aware of. We are becoming more, in a way, intelligent, more giving. When we fall in love, when we see the lover, our heartbeat increases and we become more active, we become more energetic. But we have a reason for it. We have a lover. We have a condition to create that condition of increase in the beat, increase the expansion of the fields. Now mankind has to understand and find a way to measure the heartbeat of the soul of the man. But there is one point which man has to understand. Somewhere, in some work, in some condition, the heartbeat of the soul of the man has a direct effect on the heartbeat of the physicality of the man. They are in tandem. Otherwise, they don't exist. One of the reasons man dies in the dimension of physicality is when the heartbeat loses its tandem with the heartbeat of the soul of the man. As long as you can keep the two heartbeats connected, you can keep the soul and the soul of physicality of the man in working, in tuning, in operating with each other. So one of the main things for us to understand is understanding of the heartbeat of the soul. Man's knowledge has been up to now that we have understood the earth has a heartbeat. The scientists tell us that the sun has a heartbeat. So what about the son of the man? Within the center of the structure of the man, we call the soul of the man. Isn't the challenge for man to develop technologies that can measure that heartbeat? The heartbeat of the soul. And if we can find that heartbeat by using any of the structures we have in our hands, be it the environmental, be it your vision, be it your butterflies, be it your cup, should be able to interact, that with it we can create a condition to enhance the heartbeat of the soul of the man, that he falls in love, or it's excited that it can take over the dimension of the physicality of the man. As I said in the past teachings, this is our target. How for man to learn, to get excited, to be able to bring energy levels that can allow the soul of the man Some look black, some look Africans from the South America, and the rest. In a way, mankind has to understand the process of the heartbeat. How do we create it? And in that heartbeat, if we understand, then we can travel the span of the universe. Would there be a time when the knowledge of the man reaches to have the measure of the heartbeat of the Creator? To be able to travel the span of the universe. In so many ways, what is the process of the creation? And what is, if you understand with it, what we call as a heartbeat, the key to transmutation, transportation, and everything else that the man has been attached to. The most important thing for mankind and the rest of the creation is how that heartbeat is created. We can measure it, but if we do not understand the process of its creation, how can we replicate it? We cannot be the monkey see, monkey does, because each position, each condition has a different strength, what we call heartbeat. When we have a child, they say the heartbeat is 120 or whatever. As we get older, we are happy with the 50 and 60 and 100. Was too much. What changes that condition? Is it the process of the growth, or is it the process of the birth, or is it the process of adjustment to the new environment that needs a higher heartbeat? Or is it the time that we reduce the heartbeat of the physicality to be able to allow the heartbeat of the soul to take over, what we call at the point of separation or death? Then it will be easy for all of us in the coming time to measure the physical heartbeat, the heartbeat of the soul, and dictates the time of departure. As we know, the energies cannot be replaced, or we decide not to. In a way, we call it a could see this from the beginning in the first reactors we built. This is where we discovered the heartbeat. This is where we understood the maximum and the minimum, and the charge balance between the two has reached the position of the interaction. If you look at the shape of the heart, if you look at the shape of the physicality of the center of the earth, center of the sun, will give you a clear indication that the heartbeat is controllable or can be matched to. When we travel the span of the universe from Earth to the moon, we first have to discover the strength of the heartbeat of the sun or the moon, and then be able to travel in the environment of the sun to reach to the moon. Because there is one heartbeat inside the other. Then the complication comes in how we be able to understand this knowledge. On Earth, we call it the high tide and the low tide. In a way, is the measures of the interaction of the heartbeat of the moon and the heartbeat of the Earth, in conjunction with the fields of the heartbeat of the sun. This is the reason why, for the first time, we understand we have different high and lows in different positions and seasons, as our position in respect to the heartbeat of the sun changes. Then part of this heartbeat of the man, part of it is what we call high tide and low tide, if you look at the overall, has something to do with the heartbeat of the creator. Because it has an effect on the heartbeat of the sun, the moon, and the earth, and the heartbeat of the man, and the heartbeat of the soul of the man. In the coming time, we will introduce these new technologies that you can measure the heartbeat. You can decide where that balance point of turn will come. We have a very good heartbeat of the matter we need. In so many ways, many of you should have achieved that. We hear some of our knowledge seekers in China have announced that they have managed to produce gold understanding the technology of the plasma in the past few weeks. We congratulate them, because this is what was achieved in Austria some 3 years ago when matter state was done. But our knowledge seekers looked at the physical condition of the fields, but you have to understand the heartbeat of the fields. In the enhancement units, which you have seen we produce material, we leave it to you to understand that it's from the interaction of the fields. But in fact, every system heartbeat is tuned to tune with the sun in the center. And I can change the heartbeat. I produce gold this second, and the next second is the heartbeat of zinc, copper, oxygen, plutonium, whatever you need. With this process, man will develop new technologies that can produce the matters which are unseen to man and the atmospheric condition of the earth, what we call rare earth materials. It would not be rare because we have the knowledge to create the most rarest materials in the universe. One thing which mankind has to understand, why don't we have the other materials we see in the space on the earth? Because the heartbeat of the earth cannot match the heartbeat of the fields of the plasmas which have created that matter in that position in the universe. This was very obvious when we gave the first samples of the ganses to the scientists at the University of Ghent in Belgium. When we had the reading, it says this material, which was originally the CO2, has the characteristics of materials, what we call fancy elements, that man knows about or things can be made, but it was the first time the equipment of the technology could confirm their existence. Are knowledgeable. Read the books. Go back to the chapters where you read about the ganses. For the first time, we could understand, we can transmute between elements within the structure of a plasma of a gans. There was the evidence. Scientific man-made machines could confirm the existence of the field energies, which the system converted it to the possibility of the existence of the matter-magnetic field strength. So we see what we teach about transmutation has already been in the books for past 10 years. Now you can understand more. Open the book, read it again. Then you understand. Then you understand why, even in one of the pictures of the book, we have put different color ganses and we say they don't mix. Even they accommodate each other, but they don't have the heartbeat of each other. Gap space. The way you put two magnets on the table, they created the gap space distance according to their heartbeat, according to what magnetical and gravitational fields they get. It's the same as a man. When you have your lover, you bring it close. You chat, you hug, you transfer energies. But you don't do that with every man on the street. You keep your distance. It's the same with the ganses. What is connected and what has a relationship allows that connection. In so many ways, what has been taught now can be explained to be understood more, in more detail. Now, the man scientists have to develop the new technologies to be able to replicate. Find a media that allows the replication of it for the use of the man. Which is that media with a combination of the hydrogen from the fields of the universe, which gave you the virus that can destroy, separate the fields of the separation of your cells, and now you don't. In a way, you already knew this. You put patches on your body. You wash your body with different gans fields, and at the same time you drink the ganses, and then at the same time you inhale it. You have known this knowledge. It's not something new. Now is for mankind to reach that point. The point of what we call the maturity of the physicality, that understanding man can have anything he needs. You need to go back into it, increase the field strength of it, and then switch it over to expand the soul. In the very first test we did with the people with what we call epileptic attack, this was very clear. Man has that power to do so. But he converts the energy into the soul of the physicality instead of to the soul of the man. One of the very first cases of when we tested the ability of the fields of this technology was with what we call an epileptic attack condition, where we realized the lady was creating her own attacks, her own epileptic attacks, but when she was creating so much energy, instead of giving it to the soul, she was pulling it to the physicality to get the attention, was then couldn't be able to control, and then she had the epileptic attack because the physicality cannot handle so much energy in a physical dimension. If she could transfer the energy instead of releasing to the neural system into the soul of the man, she would have been able to become invisible or become a light and then come back to a physical condition. But she wanted the attention of physicality of the mother and the father. When we handle this from the beginning, it was very obvious to me that how mankind chooses continuously conformation. When we had the first coma case, this became very clear to us. So we have seen how the energies to elevate the soul of the man is within the structure of the physicality of the man. Now we need, instead of creating the convulsion, creating the epileptic attacks, or creating becoming a condition of coma, to reverse that energy to go towards the soul of the man within the center of the brain of the man. And then you'll see the elevation of the soul. Every one of us can make a condition to become epileptic. I can show you within minutes. With the first epileptic case we had, she could control it. She could decide, this is middle of the road, if I fall, I have more audience, so she triggers it every time she crosses a zebra crossing. Because there are people, I'm on the floor, I get the attention. But she uses control, which she loses control. Then what we see as a rest of convulsion, what we see as a shaking, is the energy which was supposed to be used for the elevation of the soul of the man. But the girl decided to use her physicality. Being aware of this knowledge, I could stop the energy to be released, to become physicality. And within less than 4 months, there were no epileptic attacks. There were no need for using of the medicine. As I said in other teachings, according to her doctors, she has taken over 100,000 tablets in 30 years of learning the technology of how to create energies, but not knowing where to send it. Within 4 months, the same doctors confirmed there is no epilepsy and there is no need for medication. So we knew this knowledge of the elevation of the soul of the man, the conversions of it into the dimension of physicality from the outset. We saw it in Raman spectroscopy of the CO2 at Ghent University in Belgium. But how can you tell this to people who have no knowledge and have no understanding? This is why the knowledge has always been in front of you. I have spoken about this epileptic case many times. Now you understand the process. They concentrate the energy into the center point of what you call the little tongue in the back. In a way, they feed the energy by that, directing it to the what we call the physicality of the man. When you want to see, when you see people who create their own epileptic attacks, ask them one question, open your mouth. The first thing you see, they have a different shape of what you call the little tongue in the back. Is hanging, pointing south towards the physicality. This is where they transfer the energy to. They suck on it. You hear them, most of them create a noise, the same noise as the heartbeat. They manage to create the heartbeat within the structure of the emotion of themselves, that when it matches into the heart, it goes into the dimension of physicality. And then it releases the energy in process what we call epileptic attack. So mankind has been aware of elevating his soul, but he has never managed to bring it inside. You think, I want to travel to planet Zeus, but you put that tablet of energy inside your mouth. Instead of diverting it towards the physicality, you point the energy towards the soul of the man. But now you have the control of it. Matches the fields as it's the home for you, and you reach stops and then rotates backwards, the same as a heartbeat. We could measure at what point that heartbeat, that change of the reactor will come, that instead of returning back, we create lift and motion. We tune into the position. When you have a lever, you create the twin system of the heartbeat. This is how we could totally control the flight of, if you've seen the smaller reactor in respect to the bigger, without interaction with the field of the planet, because I could create enough field plasma inside one reactor to the other that allowed us to do. We were aware of the knowledge of what we call plasma and the heartbeat of the plasma from the beginning of time. But now that the knowledge seekers are aware and understand this, we can expand on the knowledge. In a way, when I used to explain to the knowledge seekers that just 1 second. When we started teaching about, and we explained to you how one system used to fly in respect to the other, was not just by gases, was to create the heartbeat to match, that one could lead to condition and position, to become a lover or take the position which way to go. This is how we could indicate and pre-plan which way, in which direction we wanted one reactor to fly in respect to the other. In so many ways, the knowledge has always been there, but now you can understand. Now we can explain that you can understand. In so many ways, you cannot create flight if you do not comprehend the strength of structure, the creation and condition of the third, which man has to decide in how he'll use it to elevate and to bring the condition of the change of position or the energies to create or transmute from one element to another according to the point and the strength of the observer. When you look at the original reactors, which a lot of people were expecting energy from, it was initially tested for creation of the third dimension. Dimension of the position, dimension of the strength of the soul of the creator, dimension of understanding of any matter or element within the dimension of the existence of the man. It's the first time we disclose the understanding of. But if you go back to where we originally showed this reactor, we always explained this is a three-core center. The outer, the inner, and right on the tip of the system inside, we could add, increase, change, and introduce plasmas which could create the condition of the position and dimension. When we did the test in the labs, we could see the aura of what we call the position and dimension. These reactors, which in the coming time will be introduced, is needed to create the condition for transmutation and transportation, and to be able to convert matters in different dimensions and positions. A three-core reactor is in a way inside the inside of the inside, where you can change that inside to the position, to the strength of the galaxy, to the position on the earth or on moon, and then transport the soul of physicality and the soul of the man within the structure of the center. In so many ways, we always had the knowledge. Now you can understand the way it's done. The way was planned to be. Now we can explain the structure of the motion. We can explain the structure of creating a third field within the fields of the physicality and the soul of the man. Then you can choose. I can take you within the soul of a stone, as I can create that soul within the structure of the soul of the man in the dimension of his own physicality and dimension of his own soul. Now the knowledge has to become deeper and understood, and in the coming time, upon my return to Iran, in Tehran Sharif and in what we call National Defense University, in the depths of the universe. In a way, you work within and not to cover, to be able to go, to reach, to move, to convert, and do everything else which the man considered. Always remember what I have drawn for years. I start the spine, the spiral from the center, and I go out. And this is how mankind in coming time will be able to achieve such a process. You have to work within. You have to understand your hydrogen takes the center point where the carbon will build on top of it, and so forth. This is the part of the process of the understanding. This is part of the process of being able to create a common ground and build on it to every other element which you might want to add or create or move to or convert into. You sit in the center, not to carry from outside. Man is used to the planes and cars to get in and to be carried, where with the work of the Creator, the energy moves within to move the body of the man, not to put the man inside to carry the man. Different, total different technology, totally different understanding, totally different proposition for man's knowledge expansion in the work of the universe. Maybe mankind now understand what it means. I made man in the image of myself. And I am in the center. I live within the center of everything which exists. And now is the work of the knowledge seekers to develop this, what we call the understanding and the process of conversion and transmutation from the center of the body of the man and not from outside. Would there be a time when mankind will use this knowledge to use the, what we call the energies of the viruses, to feed them directly to the soul and to the center point of the creation, that man can become a compact energy transportation that can move anywhere within the universe. The knowledge of creation is within the created. Is for man to find the knowledge. Is for the man to understand the process. The path to the Creator sits within the center of the soul of every created thing, even the man. Is man who has to go deeper inside to become more detached, that he can give everything to reach to the lover, to the Creator. Then this way you will understand why even we created the, what we call the coils, because it allows you to spiral to the point, to become stronger, to reach to the center, to the Creator. One day mankind will understand, by development of especially the, what we call the coils which you use in maglev system, what knowledge was given to man. And man, through the greed of the few light bulbs, missed the light of the Creator. And in time, man will come to understand the totality of the knowledge. Our greed for a visual seeing allowed us to miss the light of the Creator with the same vision. But in time, as we become knowledgeable, man will overcome these weaknesses of detachment, become the process of his strength, and attachment becomes his demise. Be it the love, be it the physicality of a car or a lover. In so many ways, the knowledge of the creation sits within the soul of the man. It's for man to find that knowledge, to understand the power and the strength of the heartbeat of that energy center within itself, that it leads to its creation. Each ring links to one position in the center of what you call your systems. One measures or feeds or allows the elevation of the center, where the position of the planet to be, the soul of the creator to be controlled. The knowledge has been there from the beginning, but now we can explain. We could measure the strength of the plasma in the center of the reactor. We could even measure the heartbeat of the system. When we put this system in front of you, there is so much knowledge of the creation and the creator inside. But now, as man knowledge has progressed, we can explain. This soul of the creation, this way. Then when we interact with this one and this one, we move the soul of the physicality in conjunction with the center. And then at the same time, we still have the connection with the soul of the physicality and soul of the man, that we can take both with us. And when we land in a new environment, wherever it'll be, we see instead of the circle system, most probably a man. These are not theories. You have seen the system has been in front of you since 2013, when it was shown for the first time in Italy. And it's always been in front of you. What you saw, the reactors next to each other, sits in our office in Austria on the shelf. The history of the space travel sits in front of you. But as you had no knowledge, you looked at if it creates a lift, if it does this. But in fact, we tune the heartbeat of every system to be able to be in a dimension of physicality, in a dimension of the soul of the man, or in a dimension of the galaxy, a universe, or whatever we need. Do you remember in all the teachings, many times, I wrote and I drew this, and I explained to you, if this is CO2, that is the oxygen. This is the carbon. And you can go the same way with other materials. But if you look, the pinpoint of whole thing is this. They all have this center in common. The interaction of the red and the black gives as the dimension to create whatever that the wish of the man has been. The more you wear, the less chances of getting to the body of the man. The less you're detached. The more you're detached and the less you wear, it's easier to reach the physicality, to give directly from the source. There are no armors to keep the man away from the soul of the creator, except the greed of the man in the dimension of physicality. It's the man who wears that armor, and not the creator hiding himself inside it. Try to understand the process of the heartbeat of every element, and in that heartbeat become the position that is the giver. Then when it collapses to become the taker from the dimension of the soul of the creator, you come close for it to exist. And there is a point of the turn. As you have seen, as you go to the maximum alkali, you become acidic. If you reach the point of devotion and detachment, you'll become part of the creator. As being a creator, you become the creator of. This is how we create our children. This is how we create the soul of our children. And then the whole thing has a new meaning. We give everything we have to create, and that creation becomes part of the essence of our creator. In so many ways, the knowledge of the creation, transmutation and transportation of every fields of the universe become understandable, and we can replicate it, because now it's you decide if you don't want to match and not to receive and hold on to what you have. We create our own cancers. We create our own creation. Cancer within the body of the man is not an alien, is the creation of us. Is the creation of interaction of fields of our emotion with the interaction of the fields of our physicality. You remember the difference in the book one between the weight and the mass? Cancer is the weight, and the emotion of the man is the mass. What we carry as a base in interaction with the fields of our body creates that condition of the weight of the element of what it to be. You call it cancer. Look within you. You find the answer to every disease in man, because it's the interaction of the fields of our emotion and physicality which leads to the creation of that problem. Be it the cutting of the neural system that creates you Alzheimer's, being engagement of the physicality to become everything else we want to be, from Parkinson to MS to ALS to every creation of cancer in the body of the man. We can change it. We can introduce dimensions and directions. We find a reason for it, we will create it. Many of you, I explained a few weeks ago, I suffered from hay fever for years. Matter state to nano, from nano to GANs, and now to the fields, and in the coming time to fields of the plasmas of the creation and the creator. But the man needs to take patience. Man needs to understand. I made the first reactors which you have seen the first time 20 years ago. Because I knew I have to prove it in a scientific way. When I bought the first centrifuge to create the first condition of separation of the elements to be able to create plasma in 2002, 2003, the target was where we are today. We have all the knowledge, but it's hidden within. And we decide when to manifest it. Be it the knowledge of the creation, be it the knowledge of reaching the creator, be it the knowledge of producing anything we want, or position where we want. Now you have knowledge. Now you've been given the possibility to be able to understand more. And from now on, it's depending on your own intelligence and your own understanding. Look within. Now you understand. And within you, you will find the creator. In so many ways, now those of you who've been so busy with building the double core reactors not to sit outside, but to be part. Be it using a cup, be it using an air filter, being whatever we have chosen in the dimension of the light of the man. In so many ways, from the cup to so many ways to creation, we can choose. We are that cup. And we decide what's in it, what goes in it, and who we allow to drink from it. Be it our lover, be it our physicality, be it our soul. The physicality of the cup is irrelevant. The understanding of the interaction of the fields which is created within the cup is the essence of the creation. One cup, one life. That's all it means. The totality of existence lives within that cup. It's you who has to find the cup and find out what kind of fields are within this cup. That cup being the physicality of the man, and the water within it, the liquid within it, be the essence of the creation of the man itself. You create a cancer in a cup, or you create elevation and dimension of reaching the Creator. Now man has the opportunity and the ability to choose. And with the knowledge we give, we create that condition for man to choose. And now you understand why I always said, the heart of the man, not the physical heart, which is creator of the heartbeat, is the temple of the man. And man should never bow or bend to no structure, to no man, and to no created thing except the soul of himself. In how much that soul allows the physicality to understand more of the creation. The temple of the man is within the heart of his soul, not within the building and churches and the mosques, which man has made himself to become a prisoner of. Then he can be controlled. The messengers came to open the door for the teaching of today. And it's for man to understand he's the prophet of himself. And it's him who will profit by his own understanding.
This is the 382nd Knowledge Seekers Workshop, and we'll take a short commercial break and be back in a few minutes.